Hey, welcome to Beyond Time Management. I'm Dr. Lon Schiffbauer, and this is Module 9, Overcoming Procrastination. In our previous module, we talked about how to cultivate self-motivation, to kind of keep us moving forward and so forth. And that's great. But the thing is, even if we're motivated to perform, we often find ourselves procrastinating, and this can be really frustrating. So in this module, we are going to talk about several tips and tricks to help you overcome procrastination. Now, to do this, we first really ought to take a moment to understand why we procrastinate in the first place. First, we might kind of have this fear of failure. I know I feel this quite a bit when I'm procrastinating. I'm afraid that whatever I'm working on, I'm going to screw up, and so I don't want to go off and do it. I procrastinate it. And, well, this makes sense because with failure comes, shame and so forth, and who wants that crap? Another reason we might procrastinate is maybe we feel overwhelmed with everything there is to do, and so since we don't know where to start, we don't start. It's also a really great time to kind of hide in our favorite diversion, right? You know how sometimes you have something to do, this big thing, but you're kind of overwhelmed by it or don't want to start it or afraid to start. And so you have all these tiny little tasks that you need to do. You don't really need to do them, but it's a great way to keep working and feel busy and productive, while at the same time you're really just sort of hiding from the big, ugly, scary stuff. So yeah, that kind of combines the fear of failure with overwhelmed. Whatever, I didn't organize this well, but you get the idea. Another reason we might procrastinate is perhaps there's a lack of clarity around what it is we need to do. Maybe the thing on our agenda was fix the carburetor, but it's like, well, what specifically does that mean? Are we talking about the jets? Are we talking about cleaning? I'm not quite sure exactly what it is we're supposed to fix. And so since there's no clarity, we don't do it. Then, of course, there can be a lack of confidence. We look at the work that needs to be done and we're like, I'm not sure I know how to do that. And, well, like we talked about in our previous module around self-determination theory, if we don't feel a sense of competence in what we're doing, we're not motivated to do it. And yeah, this inspires us to procrastinate. We could also be in analysis paralysis. We know we have to do something, but we're not quite sure how to do it. Should we do it this way or that way or this other way? And is there a fourth way? And how do others do it? And how have I done it in the past? And where are the trends going? The point is, we get all caught up in analyzing the appropriate next step rather than doing the appropriate next step. Now, my philosophy, by the way, is it is better to do an inappropriate step than not do anything at all. Now, that's just my take, and it has gotten me in plenty of trouble, but I tend to err on the side of action. But that's just me. Finally, some of us might be vexed by perfectionism. And, well, perfectionism tells us if you can't do it perfectly, why do it at all? Don't do a thing until you are ready to do it perfectly. And since perfection is a myth, you're never ready to do it perfectly, and so you never do it. All right, so these are just a few of the root causes of procrastination. So with these in mind, let's figure out how to overcome procrastination and sort of bump start our productivity. First, if you ever find yourself saying to yourself, I don't know what I'm doing. By the way, this is like me to the umpteenth degree. I don't know what I'm doing. If you ever find yourself saying, I don't know what I'm doing, remember, the project is how you will learn to do it. It is the means, the mechanism by which you build your competency. And so you don't need to know what you're doing. You only need to know what you're doing next. With each step, you will learn, you will progress, you will develop in your skills, and that's what it's all about. So don't let the fact that you don't know what you're doing stop you from doing. Next, and this is one of my favorites, follow the 10-minute rule. The idea behind the 10-minute rule is if you don't feel like doing something, commit to doing it for just 10 minutes. That's it. I mean, you might be looking at something and it's like, oh my gosh, I don't want to do this. It hurts me so bad to even think about doing it. Fine, great. You don't have to. Just do it for 10 minutes and then walk away. You've done 10 minutes, you're good. Now, here's the reason why the 10-minute rule works. First of all, odds are if you start doing it, then after 10 minutes, you'll go on to 15, 20, and then maybe 25 minutes. It's really just getting started that's the most onerous hurdle before us. Once you get started, it's easier to keep going. What is it? An object in motion tends to stay in motion, all that sort of stuff, right? Whereas an object at rest tends to stay at rest. This is not a physics lesson, Lon. Move on. But now here's the thing. Let's say you just do 10 minutes and then walk away. Fine, you did 10 minutes. And you know what? If you do 10 minutes every day, then after a week, you've put an hour into this project. And an hour invested is much better than nothing invested. So it's astonishing how much you can get done by just doing 10 minutes every once in a while. Trust me, it works. But let's say you can't even muster the energy to do 10 minutes. I get it. Been there, done that, got the t-shirt, turned it into rags. In this case, we shoot for minimal viable action. When you don't feel like doing anything at all, decide what action would require the least amount of effort and yet still makes progress, and do that. I've done things as simple as, well, I can't bring myself to work on the car, but I can go out and just clean off the desk. Clean off it's not a desk, Lon. It's a workbench. I've done things as simple as I can't bring myself to work on the car, but I can at least go out and clean off the workbench. It takes seriously 45 seconds. So I didn't follow the 10-minute rule, but I did minimal viable action. I spent 45 seconds cleaning off the workbench, and that is still going to move me forward in working on the car. The car that's been out there for 15 years and hasn't run since, so maybe this is all bullcrap, but it works. Next is mise en place. Now, we've discussed this before. Remember, put in place? But it's worth exploring once again. The idea is to plan specifically what you will do next, gather the necessary materials together, and set things up for your next work time. Maybe that's your minimal viable action, right? You go out into your workshop and you say, I need this, this, and this. You pull them down from the shelves. You set them all up. You say, okay, when I come out tomorrow, I can just move right into flow and get to work because everything is mise en place. Now, another thing you can do, and I really like this one. Hell, I like them all. But I really like this one, is you can be that person. So here's the idea. What kind of person would be successful in whatever you're doing? And, well, be that person. Be that person for 20 minutes. You may not be successful. You may not feel motivated. You may be procrastinating. But so-and-so here, so-and-so wouldn't let any of that get in the way. Well, be that so-and-so, even for a short period. Now, there's a great book that I would recommend to you if you're interested in developing this sort of alter ego. It's called The Alter Ego Effect by Todd Herman. I love it. I strongly recommend it. So there's a link to it in the description below if you're interested. Finally, when you are procrastinating, go back to your why. Remember your vision, your purpose, why you do what you do. When things start to feel overwhelming or pointless and you lose motivation, remind yourself why you're doing this in the first place and perhaps who you're doing it for. Perhaps yourself, your loved ones, your future self. remind yourself of what your vision is in this whole arena. So now you are motivated and you know how to overcome procrastination, so you are really making progress on your goals and objectives. But now here's the thing. You are going to fail. You are going to make mistakes. You are going to do the most boneheaded things that are going to just throw you on your back foot, okay? And so we need to understand how to build resilience through failure. Failure is not something necessarily to be avoided. It's something from which we should learn. And so that's what we're going to talk about in our next module, building resilience through failure. So I hope you stick with me and let's keep moving forward. All right? So that's all I have for today. Now go off and make some trouble. We'll talk again soon. The next one, and I really kind of liked it. What was the name of the book that did this? Oh, what was the name of that book? What was the name of the book? I'm going to go find out the name of the book.